Your story does not have to be spectacular to matter. One of the underpinnings of imposter syndrome is thinking that our story has to be absolutely over the top, so enchanting, so powerful in order for it to land and actually make impact in other people's lives. So by the end of this video, we're going to be unpacking and drawing you out of that thinking so that you understand that your simple, everyday, almost boring stories are the ones you need to be talking about because, as it turns out, they are actually the most relatable. There is this deeper belief that you might feel like you have, which is nothing big has ever happened to me. Nothing dramatic has ever happened to me. Like my life story is so ordinary, and surely everyone has had the same journey as me. So I don't have any authority. I don't have any weight to speak on this topic. And so your nervous system ends up equating significance with safety. Like, I have to have gone through something really significant and really big in order to matter, in order to be welcomed in a room and use my story. And so because it doesn't feel safe, it looks for something big to justify your place. And this is where we can slip instantly into people pleasing because you're no longer relying on you. You no longer believe that what you've been through is enough. And so we're going to be outside of ourselves in everyday moments, trying to find the connecting theme that will make someone believe that we are valued enough. But when you have a nervous system that is no longer looking outside of yourself, that is actually looking within and has self-worth embedded, understands that what they have gone through is valuable because you've lived it. No matter how small it seems, you stop looking for external validation and you begin to tell your stories. When we believe that our story has to be extraordinary in order to tell it, what we're really saying is, I need the proof. I need the proof that I deserve to be here, which you, of course, deserve to be in every room. So what happens is we start telling the stories from an unpure lens. So let's clean up that energy right now, because the truth of the matter is your story about stubbing your toe, your story about having to break into your own car because you locked your keys in again, your story about running late, but then you realize that it, avoided that accident ahead. All of those ordinary, what seems like insignificant moments in your life are actually the moments that build real lessons, and you need to be talking about it. So there's an art to it. So I want to give you an example right now so you can start to think about what are the things, the ordinary, boring things that have happened in my life that I could probably extract a moral and a life lesson, because these are the things that people, your potential audience, your potential buyers and clients are going to be listening for to see if they can relate to you, to see if they want to buy from you. Telling stories is a commodity. We're exchanging in trust in that moment and relatability, which should be very high on your priority list. But if we're not telling stories because we don't believe we're cool enough, big enough, or had a big enough, bad enough, or broken enough life experience, we are missing out on actual genuine connection that's super easy. So I once locked my keys inside of the house. I get into my car recognizing that I can't drive anywhere. And so I call my fiance and he says to me, "Do you have a credit card on you?" And I thought, well, yeah, I could just get an Uber and I could pay for the Uber with my credit card. But I said, no. I need to get back inside the house. And he says, "No, you're misunderstanding me. I don't want you to get an Uber. And I'm not asking you if you can pay for it. I'm going to teach you how to break into our own house." And I was like, oh, okay. So I went up to the door and he walked me through how to shimmy the credit card down and pop, sure, lo and behold, I pop the lock, I get into our house. Now that could be where it ends. I never tell that story because who cares, right? That ordinary, boring moment is turned into several lessons. Let me show you how. Lesson number one, sometimes we get stuck in situations that we want to get out of. But what we recognize is that the tools we need to get the job done are on us all the time. So instead of looking outside of yourself, look within. Because for me, it was in my very back pocket, the tool I needed to get into the door. So where do you have the tool inside of you already? Maybe in self-belief, maybe in confidence, maybe in a skill you picked up along the way that is actually going to help you get the job done if you just believe in yourself. There we go. There's one lesson. Lesson number 2 from this story is this. Sometimes we find ourselves in situations where we just cannot get over this hill. It just seems too challenging. And if you keep doing it alone, neglecting to pull on external resources and ask for help, that lone wolf syndrome will keep you stuck. Just like I had to call my fiance to have him walk me through how to get into the house, you might just be one phone call, one text message, one email away of saying, hey, you know what? I'm tired of doing it alone. And that person you asked to bring in with you is going to have the tool, have the mindset to help you get the job done. So stop doing it alone and do it together. Boom. 2 major stories, morals of the stories extracted from one very mundane, simple, almost overlooked story. Are you getting it now? So take a look at your life. And what I suggest that you do is make a spreadsheet on your phone and actually write down the simple, boring things that have happened to you over the past month. And then think, if I were to explain this to a 4-year-old, what would be the moral? What would be the lesson? And once you start to see a database building up, you're going to be like, God damn, I actually have a very interesting life. Relatability builds authority more than extreme moments. If you're telling too big and too extreme of a story, you're actually going to alienate yourself from the audience. And your job when you're on stage or when you're being interviewed on that panel or podcast is to relate. The stories that convert are actually rarely dramatic. They're recognizable. Like, oh, I've been there. Maybe not exactly like that, but pretty true. So if you've ever felt like your story isn't enough, I want you to know that I hear you. And hopefully my example will show you how simple and relatable it is and important it is to start to break down your ordinary stories and realize that extreme experiences don't always pay the bills. They don't get people into your programs. Imposter syndrome intensifies, though, when you try to speak from almost a borrowed intensity. Like if your story just isn't intense, but you're trying to make it intense, you'll feel like a fraud. So instead, speak from the truth of it. When you finally let yourself let go of that you need to impress people with your stories, you start to loosen the desire to perform your life stories and pedestal the one big experience you've had. And instead you realize that no story is too small. In fact, when it's specific and short and simple, it absolutely relates. Get rid of the thought that you need something more impressive right now to qualify you for that podcast. Get rid of the thought that you need to have one big story that's absolutely perfect in order for anyone to believe your authority. That's your conditioning speaking. And it doesn't mean you're a loser. It doesn't mean you're broken. It just means that you absolutely have a powerful story in you. That's not the thing. It's just you lack a structured way of understanding it. You lack the nuance, the practice of extracting a moral that everyone can relate to from your everyday, boring, beautiful life. So when you actually map your lived experience, like I suggest you do inside of that spreadsheet or your notebook, what shaped you, what you went through, what changed you, who you walk through life with, your body counts that evidence. It clocks it. And it's evidence that you belong. It's evidence that you're not making this up. It's evidence that you've earned your voice and your right to speak about it. This is the shift your nervous system is absolutely waiting for. Thanks for being here.